Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. My name is Christine. So I am actually in Seattle and I thought I would film a Seattle top 10. So this is going to be a roundup of 10 things to do in Seattle, including places to eat. Before we go ahead and dive into the video, first make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also hit that little notification bell that lets you know every time I post a new video every Tuesday and Thursday. You definitely don't want to miss out, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. If you guys didn't already know, Brand and I are originally from Seattle. We met going to UW and we just have a lot of mutual friends. This place always has felt like home. It always will feel like home. We currently live in LA, but we spent a majority of our teenage life, our dating life, college life, obviously in Seattle. So we know a lot of the really good places, but we also know a lot of the cooler spots that you may not be able to find from travel guides on Google. You know what I mean? Like only places that locals will know. So I'm super excited for this roundup. We're gonna start with some of the most touristy spots, and then I'm gonna name off of some of my favorite restaurants, and I will be having a blog post with all of these places all in one place. If you wanted to check that out, I'll go ahead and leave my blog down below. Please appreciate all the work that we put into this. Okay, thank you so much. So starting off, if you're visiting Seattle, the first thing that you have to do is obviously go to Pike Place Market. So this is a farmer's market that takes place every single day. It does close a little bit earlier, around 6 p.m. So if you do want to go, I would highly recommend going on like a weekday afternoon/evening, and then you could walk over right to the waterfront and see the sunset from there after all the shops close and all of that. But I just think that this market is so beautiful. There's so much to do. There's lots of little vendors and shops. The first ever Starbucks is located there. I personally have never been just because I feel like it's such a hyped place. There's always crazy lines, but if you love coffee, if you love Starbucks, that is where the very first Starbucks was opened here in Seattle. It's in Pike Place. Also in Pike Place is Piroshki Piroshki, and it's like a Russian bakery, and when you go, you have to get the smoked salmon because it's delicious. Brand and I went, they sold out. Highly recommend getting the smoked salmon, but everything else that you can get is really good. I think the ham and cheese is good. Brand and I also got like a something spinach. We love Piroshki. Another place that we love in Pike Place is Me Some. It's a little Chinese booth within Pike Place, and they have barbecue pork buns that are delicious. Their pot stickers are also amazing. Again, little bite-sized pieces, so just great if you want like a midday little snack. And they've also won lots of awards as well. Also in Pike Place is Pink Door, and this is like a Italian restaurant. So Seattle doesn't have a lot of like crazy notable restaurants, but there are a few select ones that we can appreciate. So the Pink Door for me is one of them. You're not going to be blown away by the flavor or the food per se. It's a great restaurant, don't get me wrong, but it's more so the ambiance of the whole restaurant. It's randomly in an alleyway, so if you haven't been for the first time, it might be hard to find, but it's literally just a pink door, and there's a long staircase that goes down into the restaurant, and the food there is really good. They had like a black seafood linguine that was amazing, but all the dishes are very, very good. You have to make reservations in advance, but a really fun date night spot. Also near Pike Place, Brand and I went for the first time, is Kashiba Sushi. Usually if you make a reservation, you don't have to wait as long, but we went with our friend Joshua, and for the three of us, it took an hour and a half to get seated, but it was worth it. The omakase was amazing. It was around $120 a person, which for omakase is really not that bad. We were very impressed by the quality of the fish and would highly recommend that if you're looking for sushi, especially if you're in Pike Place already, you can go ahead and put your name in and then walk around the market. You know what I mean? Also in Pike Place is the gum wall, so I just feel like there's so much to do in that area. The gum wall is kind of like a famous couple walls that are just filled with gum. I think it's disgusting, but if you want to go there just to go take photos, maybe put a piece of gum on the wall, it's kind of a fun thing to do. But there's so many things to do around Pike Place. If you want to get some fish, get some oyster shooters, there's lots of flowers and little shops. You can get like candle and skincare and all of that good stuff. And if you walk all the way towards the waterfront, there's actually a little pier situation where you can see the waterfront and all of that, and I think it is really, really pretty, especially if you go around sunset. It's gorgeous. Number 2, Miners Landing. Miners Landing is a gorgeous place. It is right on the water, and there's lots of really fun restaurants around there if you want to get your clam chowder, fish and chips, whatever. There's also the crab pots if you want to get some like steamed seafood and have them dump it on the table in front of you and eat it with like a little hammer thing. Always a fun experience. Number 3, I would go to Cap Hill. I feel like this whole area is so fun. There's so many great restaurants. There's lots of really great shops, boba shops. There's lots of little thrifty areas as well. And I feel like Cap Hill is kind of a cool, hip area not a lot of tourists know about. So that's always kind of a fun thing about it. Also, if you're into the nightlife, going out, drinking, there's lots of really fun bars in the area. There's a lot of our favorite stores around there. Likelihood has some really cool streetwear, sneakers. Their display is also gorgeous, so it's sometimes just fun to go in and look and see what they have. Also, a lot of the times they have sneakers that you can't find online. That's my dad. Hi, Dad.
Hello.
But yeah, we love Likelihood. Another shop that we like is Bait. So it's similar to Likelihood. They don't have quite as many sneakers, but it's a very curated shop. You can find like anywhere from clothes to t-shirts to books, figurines. We also love a lot of the vintage shops around there. We popped into the Northwest Vintage, and there's lots of really cool like sportswear items. You can find some really cool vintage Seattle Mariners, Seahawks, Huskies, other sport teams as well, not just like Seattle teams. One of the shop owners recommended Soulmate, which is like a sneaker consignment shop. They sell cool sneakers and stuff like that if that is your speed. Also, if you are in Cap Hill and you want to stay for dinner, you have to go to Bateau. Bateau is definitely on the list of top 10 because it is a steakhouse, but not like any steakhouse you've been to before. Bateau actually owns the cows and the farmland that the cows like graze on and stuff like that. Their meat and quality of beef is so insane, and they're all grass-fed, raised sustainably, and we just love the food. There's a burger that's off the menu that you have to order that is amazing, like one of the best burgers that we've ever had. Then if you're in Cap Hill, this is not like a must that you have to go to, but Drip Tea Boba is really good. It's kind of like a hypey boba shop. They also have like clothes and kind of like hype beast flavor names and stuff like that. But the actual boba itself is pretty good, and if you're in Cap Hill and shopping already, you might as well stop and get some boba, you know? Nightlife, if you're into going out and drinking, some of my favorite go-to places is Rhino Room and Grimm's. I love going to Grimm's for like kind of a lower key, like it's still popping and there's still lots of people dancing, and it's a really fun environment. But if you want to get like drinking, I would go to Rhino Room. The downstairs area is really fun. It's always super packed. I've also been to Sugar Hill. That's really fun. And Still Liquor is also really fun as well. Number 4 on my list is the Space Needle. The only reason why this is kind of lower on my list is I feel like it's such a touristy thing to do. If you want to go up the Space Needle, I believe it is $34. And on Sundays, sometimes they have farmers markets like on the ground level. They used to have like a night market, food market situation where they have lots of different vendors. Definitely check their calendar and see if they are doing it this time of year. And I don't know if they're doing it with COVID, but Space Needle is kind of a scenic thing that you have to see if you want to go up. I think it's great to do just once, and it is gorgeous up there. They also have a new revolving glass floor that they just installed recently, so that is also really pretty. You get a nice view. Then some of our favorite spots to look at the Space Needle. Number 1 is Cary Park. This is such a gorgeous viewpoint. Lately it has been getting busier and busier, so we actually went, I think, on like a Saturday afternoon and got really lucky. There wasn't a whole lot of people, so we're able to get some good photos. From Cary Park, you can get a gorgeous view of the city. The Space Needle is just stunning from that viewpoint, so highly recommend that. Another place that Brand and I love going is Gasworks Park, and from there, it's kind of like a fun park. We got takeout from Thai Tom, which is like a Thai restaurant that we love, especially if you want some quick Thai food and you want to spend less than like 15 bucks. Highly recommend if you're on the Ave. It is so good. And then finally, another great viewpoint for the Space Needle is Alki Beach. This is also kind of a fun area to hang out. It's not really a beach. We don't have anything like California beaches. It's the best that we have, okay? I think you can do bonfires from there as well, but the view of the city and the skyline is absolutely stunning from there. So if you have time, highly recommend. Number 5 on my list is the aquarium. I love the aquarium. I feel like Seattle is really known for the seafood, being by the ocean, and so obviously you have to take advantage of the amazing aquarium that we have. It's also a great date night spot, and our high school prom was actually held at the aquarium as well, so kind of just a fun place to go to, but if you don't have time, it's not the end of the world. Some fun shopping areas, like I said, go to Cap Hill. You get lots of really fun shops, little boutique-y areas around there. U Village is a fun area to shop. It is near University of Washington, and it's like this outdoor shopping area. There's lots of really fun shops to go to, some food, some little chain restaurants in there, but there's also a really big Aritzia, which is like the main reason why I go there. So if you want like a fun little outdoor shopping experience, we really like U Village. There's also a really pretty Restoration Hardware that's great to take pictures in. We also love Bellevue Square Mall, so that's kind of like a bigger mall. That mall is really pretty, really big. The Aritzia in there is really awesome as well. Number 7 on my list, if you have time to go to a park and just hang out. I love taking advantage of the parks, especially when the weather is beautiful. I personally love GreenLake, and this is a park in Seattle that is around this lake, and in the summer it's really fun. My friends and I will bring like card games, board games, snacks, and it's just fun to hang out. I also recently went to Bellevue Park, so if you're on the east side, this is a really beautiful park that I feel like no one really talks about enough, but it's a gorgeous park. When Brandon and I lived in Seattle, we actually lived in Bellevue, so we're very familiar with the east side, and we enjoy hanging out there just because it's a little bit quieter, but you still get the city vibes, you know? Number 8, we love Kirkland. So if you're already on the east side as well, Kirkland's kind of a little town, and there's lots of really fun shops, little boutiques, lots of really great restaurants around there, and the waterfront there is actually gorgeous as well. There you probably won't find a lot of tourists just because I feel like everyone really stays in the main Seattle area, so that's really nice if you kind of want to get away from that, kind of just relax, hang out. The restaurants around there are really, really good. You can rent bikes and stuff like that, and that's always a fun thing to do if you want more of a laid back day. Number 9, hiking. If you have time to hike and you brought things to hike, I feel like Seattle has some of the prettiest hikes I've ever done. Whenever I come here, I always make time to go with some of my friends because it's what I miss the most. The air here in Seattle is so crisp, and once you get up in those hikes, you can see the gorgeous trees, the mountains, and it's just incomparable to anywhere else. I feel like the Pacific Northwest is really known for the mountains and the lakes and stuff like that. So highly recommend. Some of my favorite hikes that aren't super far, that aren't super difficult as well. Rattlesnake Ledge, that one's like a fairly easy one. I believe it's around 3 to 4 miles. We also love Lake 22, Blanca Lake, and Serene Lake. So those are all really pretty hikes if you have time to do that. Now let's get into the food. Some of the food I mentioned earlier: sushi, Kashiba, super good omakase, great sushi. Bateau is amazing. Paseo, they make the best Caribbean sandwiches. So a couple of years ago, they actually were bought out. So I believe the original owner now owns Un Bien. So I prefer going to Un Bien because the sandwiches taste just as good as they originally did. And for me, the Paseo quality has declined just a little bit. So if you love a big, juicy sandwich with like grilled caramelized onions that just have so much flavor, oftentimes when you bite into one of these sandwiches, the juices will like drip down your forearms, and they're honestly some of the best sandwiches that I've had in my life. A very notable place to go for sure. Another place I'd recommend is an oyster place, Walrus and the Carpenter, for a date night a couple of years ago, and it still is ingrained in my memory as like such an amazing place. Seattle is right near the water, so of course we have some of the best oysters, and a lot of these places have happy hours as well, so you can get like an oyster for $1 to $2, which is a great deal. It's delicious, highly recommend. Earlier I mentioned Thai Tom also has amazing Thai food. Super good. As far as food goes, I'll go ahead and pop the list right here and leave it in my blog post as well. All of the top places that I recommend. I just feel like Brandon and I love food so much, so we have an endless list of recommendations, and there's not enough time to talk about it in this video. That brings us to the end of this roundup, my top 10 places in Seattle. I hope you guys enjoyed this roundup. If you're visiting, if you're local to Seattle and just looking for some like fun new recommendations, hopefully this is helpful. Thumbs up this video if it was helpful. I'll go ahead and link my blog post down below. And that is all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!